Welcome back. So a big focus the day after the Supreme Court directed the protesting doctors of Ajikar Hospital to resume work by 5 p.m. today or face the music. The Bengal IMA remains defiant. It has vowed to continue on its protest and not give in despite the threat of facing dire consequences from the Bengal government here. Let's quickly have a discussion on this. We have Raj Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us, Asif Ansari, political analyst, Dr. Bibu Anand, Joint Secretary of the FIMA, someone who wants the strike to continue in his favor of the agitation going on. Dr. Ishwar Gilada, a very senior practitioner who is the Secretary General of Organized Medicine Academic Guild, also known as OMAG, who is someone who feels that it's now time for restraint. Let me first start with the two doctors on the panel. Dr. Bibu Anand, in about 3 hours, the deadline coming in from the Supreme Court ends in terms of when the doctors are expected to call off the strike and go back to their duties. It's been more than a month. There have been repeated raps coming in from the High Court and the Supreme Court on the Bengal government here. All aspects of negligence have been highlighted. They have been brought to book. The case has been taken over by the CBI. It is carrying out its investigation. There has been a national task force formed with some of the best and brightest minds in the country to try and look at coming up with suggestions to ensure there's never a repeat of this case. What do the doctors of West Bengal still want, which is why they're not getting back to their work?
Absolutely. The thing is that we are in favor of having a strong point that we want that Central Health Protection Act, as well as we want justice for the lady doctor who was brutally raped and murdered. We respect the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court, but the thing is that still there has been no such assurance given to us about the law of the protection. And the day when this have happened, still there are very much cases in our scenarios that is happening day to day, but still there is no action taken. So we are not telling that we will not go back to our duties. We are still somehow managing our duties along with our strike. But the thing is that the point should be here that why do we need to do strike? We are not in favor of strike, but why should we have been compelled to do strike? The thing is that our demands are not getting fulfilled. Our Central Health Protection Act, which should be implemented, is not being getting implemented as soon as possible. So these things have been compelling our resident doctors to go on strike. We are just compelled to go to
Dr.
strike.
Bibu Anand, you have mentioned two aspects. One second. Dr. Anand, you mentioned two reasons why you are still on strike. One is that you say that justice has not been given to this young doctor. And the second, you say that there has been no central law. Now, firstly, I want to understand, yes, we all want justice, but our definitions of what constitutes as justice and at what time may be differing. So I want to understand, what do the doctors mean by justice here? Because surely by coming up with a time frame that within so many days we want the culprits to be hanged, that only leads to perhaps just to essential due practices of the law being circumvented, shortcuts being taken, and we don't want that. We want a free and fair trial. Secondly, when you say that there has been no central law that has been passed, can a legislation really be brought in by bringing the healthcare system to hostage like what the doctors are doing here? A legislation needs proper consultation, needs to be discussed and brought in with no outside pressure. Anytime a legislation has been brought in that has never worked, is this the right way to go about it?
The thing is that we don't want this happening to be again and again. That's why we are demanding the law. And this law has been already placed much before, few years back. But why they are taking so much of time when it is for our doctors? So this thing is happening in every medical college, hospital, or every primary healthcare centers where doctors have been under attack by the people. So if there should have been a strict law and imprisonment or any other means by which this law can be implemented by the government, so we will have been always under the attack of the common people. So these things should be implemented as soon as possible, so as in order to get ourselves to treat the patient freely.
Okay,
If
let me
we
go
are
across
will
now
be
to Dr.
always
Ishwar
in
Gilada. Let me get in
yeah.
the other medical view as well. Dr. Gilada, you are a very senior doctor. I'm going to read out the statement which is coming from the Bengal chapter of the IMA. It says that we are disheartened to hear that the Honorable Supreme Court has asked junior doctors to return to work, and they have been portrayed as someone responsible for those 23 deaths that have happened in West Bengal, despite the fact that no service has been completely hampered due to the movement of the junior doctors here. Do you agree with this sentiment that this is an attempt now to make these doctors a scapegoat and try to divert attention from the investigation by claiming that it's because of them 6 lakh patients have been denied appointments, 1 lakh 50,000 angiographies have been halted, and 23 people have died? How did the government even come up with this statement? Do you feel that there are reasons why the doctors feel that the demands have still not been met?
See, I'm not aware of the ground realities there, but as a doctor, I feel that we are first human
Okay.
being, then social animal, and then doctor. So a doctor tag is a different, and then we should be behaving differently. We are not manual laborers. We are responsible for people's health, and there are other ways of protest. There are the protest cannot go on for indefinite time. Now, what is this protest going to end up? Is
Yeah.
basically those doctors are not only doctors; they are also postgraduate medical students. Their education is being hampered. Many of them are from low middle class families. Whatever stipend they are getting, the families also run on that. That is being hampered. Their term will be extended. So they should understand all these consequences before understanding to continue the strike. Secondly, uh, the entire protest has created a nationwide strike. Everywhere people have been with them. And so we should understand that sympathy and empathy of people with us should not go away. And Honorable Supreme Court also taken a very tough stand of this situation in Bengal. So we cannot mix up two, three things. One is the rape
Okay.
murder. Second are the working conditions of doctors and the act which should be passed, which is pending in the both the houses of parliament for last 2.5 years. That act should be passed, but by just continuing the strike, the act is not going to be passed. It is going to have its own course. So I think at this time we should understand that our protest can be with putting some kind of black ribbons, or putting banners, writing articles, doing social media thing, but continuing service to the patient. We are meant for that. We are not the reason why we have to do and die. So that is our credo of the doctors. So I think they should have a proper counsel. They should be consulting senior people. Should withdraw the strike. Should continue their protest. I'm not asking them to stop the protest. Protest should continue. But the indefinite agitation is going to hamper their own
So,
studies
what
and
should be
their
the way
work and
ahead,
their
Dr. Gilada? Because
long-term.
clearly, clearly these junior doctors have enough reason. They clearly feel very strongly about it. Should there be talks between senior members of the fraternity within the medical fraternity, talks from senior people such as you to try and reassure the junior doctors that they are not being abandoned? Should there be talks between the state government and these doctors who are protesting in order to try and come up with a solution?
In my student life, I also led a lot of agitations, and we always had a dialogue with senior doctors, practicing doctors,
Okay.
IMA, and all senior associations. So there's a student association, intern association, junior doctor, resident doctor association, senior doctor association,
Yep.
working people. So I think we should consult everybody because it's a fraternity issue. It is not only junior doctors issue. It
Okay.
encompasses everybody in medical profession. So I think they should be consulting. If at all they want, I am there, our organizations are there, we would like to guide them. They are our children. We don't want to see them on streets. We want to see them in operation theaters or wards
All
or
right.
in OPDs to do their sacred duty which we are born for.
Okay. Asif Ansari, political analyst, someone who understands the Trinamool Congress. If in 3 hours the doctors do not call out the protest, which seems to be very likely, what is the Mamata Banerjee government's plan going to be? Is it going to take disciplinary action, which it has been given the green signal to from the Supreme Court? Or do you plan on actually reaching out to these doctors to try and convince them, to try and assure them personally of the fact that the government is committed to their welfare and try and get them back into their rooms, into the operating rooms and on off the streets? Asif Ansari.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. I hope you have heard my question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, we have, as we have heard from the senior doctor right now, whatever the point he has mentioned today, I really admit those points, and those are a very valuable point. I think as what I have seen in this scenario, which is going on is still date, I think the government has failed to pursue the medical fraternity to take into a confidence to go back into the work, because I think the doctors, I think the Supreme of TMC should intervene into this matter directly and should talk to the doctors that should come back into the work, because now it has become a vengeance type of protest. It is not a protest because I'll say the protest is something in a non-violence way. Your voice can be heard in a larger extent, but the protest which is going on in it is too much into a violence that your heart cannot be heard. Only the cacophony and the pandemonium they are creating on the road. I think the Mamata Banerjee should intervene and pursue the doctors to come back to work, the junior doctors, because just now we heard that 120, 1,500 angioplasty is not done. You know, angioplasty is a life-saving treatment which gives to the cardiac patient. If the 1,500 people go without the treatment, they could die without the angioplasty. And the same thing we have seen the 20 after submitting the report from the West Bengal Medical Association, they have submitted the healthcare that 23 people
So the
had died
Bengal
because of the
government insists that there is a state of health emergency right now. And the first priority has to be to ensure that this doctor strike ends. It's ironic, it's happening in a state right now. We are getting these live visuals from the Swast Bhavan in Kolkata, where the protest is continuing. We were getting reports from my colleague Shreya as well. In a state which has a rich culture of strikes and bunds here, the government is desperately asking this doctor's protest to be called off. Raj Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BJP, I'll let you have the final word because I have to move on now. Is this not the moment of the hour? Now, we have had politics going on for over a month now. We have established on multiple accounts the fact that there were lapses on part of the initial investigation with the state government here. And enough, that case is now in safe hands, whether it be in the form of the CBI and being monitored by the Supreme Court here. Should it now be time for the politics to finally cease? I'm not saying move on, but at least try and get the doctors to be assured so that they come back to the job. But instead, we are seeing a political blame game, which is only fanning this protest that I see on the streets.
Ritangshu, firstly, this is not a political protest. This is the people's protest. People are on the roads. They are hitting the roads. And as a principal opposition party in West Bengal, we are doing what we should do. Secondly, the junior doctors are on protest. The senior doctors are serving people of Bengal, and there are only 16 to 18 medical colleges in West Bengal. Apart from this, there are around 3,000 private government-sponsored central government hospitals are there. The patients are going there. They are taking service from there. The doctors are providing every kind of facilities. So whatever Mamata Banerjee is saying, she is just trying to bulldoze this entire protest by gathering some kind of sympathy in the name of patient and treatment. We have to understand that what is the mindset of Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee is, she herself is involved in the orchestration of this entire thing. She is the health minister, she is the police minister,
No,
she is
Raj
the
Chaudhary,
chief
see, this is
minister.
why my point, I don't understand here. You just heard one of the junior doctors also saying that one of their key grievances is that the law which has been in the pipeline to ensure doctors' safety has still not been implemented. Now, that is a responsibility of the central government here. By continuously restricting it to a Mamata Banerjee issue at this point here, we are neglecting one of the reasons why doctors across the country are upset here. It's not just doctors in Bengal.
In 2019, a doctor was
so that is the point, Raj
attacked
Chaudhary. Unfortunately, I have to move on now. See, that's my point. We are not looking at isolated issues at this point here, which is one of the reasons why these issues continue to go on.
Mamata Banerjee herself issued an
Dr.
order.
Biru Anand, and of course, Dr. Ishwari. Okay, fair enough. Dr. Gilada, thank you so much for joining.